What is up, Whale family? This is Nytmare bringing you Hangtime, where we talk NBA Top Shot, the league, the market, fantasy basketball, and all things hoops and hype. I have Roon with me once again. Roon, what's going on, my man?
Hey, how's it going? You doing good this week?
I'm all right. I heard you in DC. The virus is up there, and you guys are spreading COVID in the
Yeah,
wild.
yeah. Whatever. What he had, that's what I had. That's what my kids had. Oh yeah, we're sharing the Omicron love.
Is that in the maple syrup or something? Like, how's that spreading around?
It was COVID snow.
Ah, I got it. I got it. So yeah, interesting week. A lot to cover, quite honestly. So I won't spend too much time, touching on the league. But I did appreciate seeing Braun going off after a lot of the criticism and after sitting out because of the protocol and whatnot. Um, I
Yeah,
kind of also like seeing Curry struggle a little bit after talking smack that he would light it up with 16 threes, trying to beat Ray Allen's record because
yeah. Record breaking.
there's something to be said about being humble in those types of situations. So um, I like to see a little bit of humble pie getting served now and then. And of course, all our Zion holders were kind of, they were squirming in their seat a little bit, seeing him tweak his foot coming back from injury. So that was rough. But my favorite thing of the past week was seeing KD absolutely harass Trey Young, and Trey Young have to push back on it. I don't know if you saw this.
No,
I dropped this in the channel, but KD and Trey Young going at it in an intense game coming near the end, and of course Trey, stood
yeah,
up to him, and you can see KD kind of laughing about it, right? Because he knew him since he was like really young, like 10 years old. And there's a tweet here that highlights it. But look at that, he's just kind of beating on him during the game. He
yeah.
gets physical, but then when you look at like during the game, there was a little bit more like antagonistic behavior from KD. Look, he's like draping his arms all over him. I saw another where he's practically putting his hands in his pocket. Look at this.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, he's like, look at this dude, what's going on, right? And so that was fun to watch.
It's like
But
older
like,
brother watching
yeah,
younger brother.
afterwards they said it was all love, and here's the picture, right, of
That's so
KD and
funny.
Trey when Trey was just a tot. So that was pretty cool to see. And then of course, did you check out any of the NFL games over the weekend?
Oh yes, I saw the blowout from the Raiders. That was great. Sorry, Moose.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
Also rough for people that were Buffalo Bills fans, to give that false hope there in the second half and come
Oh
back
yeah.
just for Brady to set records and catch
I
him in overtime.
I was so happy about that. Even though I hate Brady, I hate the Bucks. So not as much as the Cowboys, but I appreciated that. I knew I had a feeling that Buffalo was going to take the loss from the Patriots and then take the loss from Brady. So they don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what
Yeah,
he does.
yeah, wins all around, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Unless you're a Bills fan. And man, their fortunes have kind of switched around, but I think they got a pretty cake record for the rest of the year, with the exception of the game against the Pats, right? So
yeah.
destiny in their own hands. If you are a Bills fan, keep your tables ready. You might have to light them on fire, real ECW style, and jump through them. But I think you still got a shot at the division, if not the playoffs. So we'll see. And of course, Aaron Rodgers continuing to go off.
He completely blew up my prop bets, but what are you gonna do?
Yes, yes. So how about the world of football or soccer? And you got some stuff for us this week?
Yeah, and before you jump to that, I have to say, Philly beating Golden State to shut him up on that record breaking thing. Yeah, it was beautiful. Loved every second of it.
Yes, yes, indeed.
So yeah, actually, I do have a few things to talk about. Um, I'm This segment's going to be a little bit quick, only because there's a lot of stuff that happened, and there is a lot of stuff that is going to be happening very soon. So it's just kind of like a preliminary build-up thing, because I'm still trying to investigate and understand a few things that I'm going to bring up here. But first off, I need to bring up during MLS had a very big week this week in regards to the MLS Cup final on Sunday. It was New York City FC, on the team that beat the Revs, against the Portland Timbers. And this game went crazy. And as soon as I could find out where I put it, okay, here we go. New York City FC ended up winning. They it was 1-0 Portland. It went to 1-1 in the 94th minute. Literally 30 seconds left on the clock, and New York City tied it up. It went through the extra time that it normally goes through, and then it went to penalty kicks, just like it did with the Revs. And just like with the Revs, New York City came out on top with the penalty kick save. So New York City FC is reigning champions for 2021, which leads to our next topic of NFT photography. Obviously, with Whale Shark going pretty bullish on it now, people are starting to incorporate NFT photography from sporting events. This little tweet right here is just someone that had got the shot of New York City FC in their stadium. It's a really interesting picture. The sunset is great, and it looks like it goes right over the Yankee Stadium sign. And NYCFC has one of the smallest pitches, in Major League Soccer. So I mean, this is still a really nice shot. I like it. I'm not a NYCFC fan, but I could see that this could be the start of some sports photography entering the scene in the NFT era.
Yeah, that's actually, as much as I hate to say it, being Yankee Stadium, that looks pretty dope.
Yeah, it's a really nice picture.
I'd asked in the NFT photography room just if some people could highlight, some of the different subgenres for me, because I'm really keen to learn some of the more nuanced stuff that I wouldn't think of offhand, and this is definitely one that I wasn't thinking of that could be amazing. I had another question for you, and just so I'm learning kind of the landscape here. What are the major rivalries in MLS?
Okay, real quick, MLS. I will go to the clubs here and bring them up. Okay, so Charlotte FC is a brand new club that starts next year. They just got announced, so they are the expansion team, and that's actually what this expansion draft is about. Expansions that come in, so teams that are newly created, they can choose players from every team in the league. The teams have to block certain people from being part of this draft, but anyone who's not blocked is fair game to be picked up by the brand new club. It's caused some issues in the past, but anyway, the biggest rivalries you have, there's some new ones, by the way, that have opened up. You've got Seattle Sounders versus Vancouver versus Portland. These three right here are known as the Cascadia Cup. So these three have their own separate little rivalry within MLS, and they have what's called a Cascadia Cup. And whoever is the best team out of all three of these will win this Cascadia Cup. And it's only for these three teams. It's really crazy. It's not like officially sanctioned by MLS, but they make their own trophies and everything, and it's become a big deal. Montreal and New England is pretty good, but New England and Red Bulls are a pretty strong rivalry now. One of the biggest rivalries comes in the form of newly acquired teams such as Orlando City and Inter Miami CF. They have started the Florida rivalry, and Los Angeles Football Club versus LA Galaxy. Those are the big ones. The LA Galaxy and Los Angeles Football Club, they are your money teams. They are the ones that the stars go to. Los Angeles Football Club is actually owned by people like Will Ferrell, amongst other people. So yeah, that's an idea of
Thank you. Someone also mentioned the inner New York rivalry, the Bulls and the City.
The Red Bulls versus NYCFC. Yep, that is one of the ones that came out as a result of this. And again, New England, because New England is where it is, it's just like with football. They have long-standing love-hate relationships, but New England has DC United, New York Red Bulls, and CF Montreal, which used to be the Montreal Impact. They're the big ones that New England Revolution are up against.
Well, I mean, listen, we can't be like, oh, there's three rivals. Like, I want some actual heat on this, so I need to pick one rival. So it's either gonna, if I'm trying to learn here, I'm either gonna pick New York or Montreal to hate on. I got to pick one of them. Probably New York over Montreal, because as much as I understand the rivalry there, that's a mutual respect thing. New York sometimes, that's a whole nother topic for another day. But sorry for derailing you here. What else did you have for us, Roon?
You're fine. No, and some of these, like I said, I'm going to go through a little bit quickly because some of them are a little old, but we haven't announced, we haven't talked about them yet. Tops, they they released, and actually, I think it might have been Simple Pixel Life. I don't know if it was Simple Pixel Life or not, but brought it up and told me that Bundesliga is now starting to get into the game with Tops. So they signed a deal with Tops doing NFT cards. This actually went live back in, I think, the 11th of November. And they sold out immediately. Yeah, it was November 11th. I missed out because I didn't hear about it until after the fact, but it was $35 a pack, and they had quite a bit of information. So something to look forward to when they drop the next one. One other thing is Dapper and La Liga. So La Liga is your Real Madrid, your Barcelona, your Atletico Madrid, what used to hold Messi and Ronaldo. They're gone, but you have people like Luis Suarez in there still. But so this is going to be the moments for La Liga. So it's the very first league from soccer that Dapper is tapping into. So obviously, I think it's going to be doing other leagues, but this is a really good sign. This is just really cool to see.
Yeah, I actually touched on it while you were out last
Okay.
week,
Yep.
to the best of my soccer knowledge ability. But
Yeah.
I found it interesting because in my research and trying to get more embedded, I was reading up and learning more about So Rare and what they do over there because they announced a partnership with
Yes.
La Liga as well. And
Yep.
so it was like, how can they do that? And it's because that So Rare is specifically for
Typically,
fantasy.
for fantasy, exactly. And there was talk that they wanted to dabble in some highlights, but Dapper fought it right away because they snagged it for that purpose. But yeah, that was the only reason why they were able to do that.
Well, actually, now that
Yeah.
you say that, they did announce a new agreement that they had with some legends, right? Some
Oh
absolute
yes,
soccer legends that was
yes, all that.
specific to moments and not fantasy. Although, imagine if it was, how dope would it be if you could get like a legendary player for your fantasy leagues or
Well,
something?
well, I mean, if
That's
you
like me playing Madden back in the day, just stocking my team with legacy players.
well, yeah, exactly, and they do that for FIFA. They do have like legendary players, but I mean, if you look at like NBA Top Shots, they have the Run It Back series. They have the Allen Iverson, moment or whatever. Like, I mean, you could get players when they were playing for different leagues, but it won't be the same. I won't get a Ronaldinho moment from Dapper because of this information.
Hold on, Rune.
Yep.
I just realized I said something that was absolutely ridiculous. That imagine if you could get one for fantasy when obviously the players aren't going to be playing. So I'm still thinking in my video, I'm still thinking in my video game realm. But hey, if there
No.
was some type of gamification that way and you could use
Yes.
them, that would
Yes.
be cool.
Exactly. And that there is kind of something coming, but it won't be real life players. But anyway, really quickly, I wanted to bring up that Luis Suarez, speaking of La Liga, is he actually is used to play for Liverpool, went to Barcelona, and now I think he plays for Atletico Madrid, if I'm not mistaken. One of the greatest forwards from Argentina that there is. And he dropped an announcement in early November that on the Eternity chain, which I never even knew existed, he was dropping a collection. So here are some of the cards that people have come out with, and they're really cool looking. I don't know anything about this. It is on Polygon. Some of them are quite pricey, but that's dope. $51,000 for that though. Woo, it's a Maradona jersey. Anyway, but yeah, so this was a surprise. Everyone was looking for the bite. So Luis Suarez is known for biting people during games. I will show you off screen some of the plays that have happened. But yeah, he's infamous for this. No, yeah, it's not Argentina, it's Uruguay. Thank you so much, Esoteric. Yeah, so there's that. A few more things, real quick. Premier League is now considering partnership with NFT crypto platform. This is a big deal. This is a really big deal. This is basically them just saying that they're investigating what they want to do. They talk about potential teams that have gone on launching tokens on the Socios platform. Those are individual teams, though, offering NFTs for, like, if you buy this ticket, you could get an NFT, or you where you could get like extra merchandise or something on the side. Well, La Liga, of course, is going with went with So Rare and also with Dapper. Well, Premier League is investigating what they want to do, basically how they want to proceed. This is your clubs: Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool again, Liverpool, Liverpool, Liverpool. No, I'm kidding. But this is big news right here, and I'm very interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, I'm surprised what they do at Socios and Chili's, that they're not all over this, and who knows, maybe they do have infrastructure in place that they're going to come out with something big.
Yeah, and they had recently, and it even says it right in here, they had recently got rid of, so you're able to sponsor shirts. So just like NASCAR cars, people put their logos all over the cars, the same thing can happen with branding for jerseys. Well, a lot of betting sites were starting to get on the jerseys. Well, England got rid of that, made a ban against that, and so now they're replacing it with crypto. And so there's a bunch of, like, sportsbet.io is a crypto thing, and so is crypto exchange CoinJar. They sponsor Brentford, so they are appearing just like the Sixers had the crypto.com sponsor on there. They're doing this with soccer now too.
Cool.
I did have one more thing I wanted to bring up, and this one is going to be rather quick. I am still learning about this. This seems very interesting. It's called Meta Soccer. You're basically, this is not real players. Okay, so that kind of was like, but the mechanics of this is pretty crazy. This is a game, NFT gaming thing. It's based on Polygon. There's a public sale that's going to be going on, but your NFTs evolve over time. So you gather your NFTs, you play a game. You play a game against another team. You gather your players, you train them, you can scout them. It's odd. You can scout them, which would generate a card, kind of almost like a breeding component, if you think about it, where the cards just appear, and these players, as you play with them more, you can update their attributes. And what's also crazy is that they age. So your characters age with the passage of time, as it says here, and at a certain age, their performance starts to decline, because that's just what it is in real life. And there's a play to earn mechanism with an MSU token that they have. So I'm still going over this and reviewing it, but they've got a lot of information. Their white paper is great. And there's like I guess some form of drop. I don't know. But this was a pretty decent find. They've been going crazy on Twitter. So something I'm definitely looking into.
Yeah, again, calling my gaming background, but those were some of my favorite sports video games when I was younger. Were kind of the white label ones where you could create your own player and put the stats and attributes how you like, and get, as you win games, you would get points to level up players and things of that nature. I really got into that. They had a couple baseball titles and hockey titles that I did like that. So I'd be interesting to see how these evolve for sure.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting, and they've been hard on, like I said, hard on Twitter. They've been. I'm going to look into this some more. I saw this like about a week ago, and kind of like put it aside. But then they went crazy the last 2 days, and so I've been going, like, perusing the white paper and such. So yeah, that's
Nice.
what I got.
Very cool. Well, thanks for the Roon report. We appreciate it.
No problem.
So back to NBA Top Shot and what is going on with the market, and kind of a gross day to take a look at the market, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But let me see, how gross is it that Evaluate Market actually wanted to jump out and stop loading for me? But if it was loaded, you would see that on Evaluate Market, the market cap right now is at about 740K. It's down about 4% versus a week ago. So a continued gradual slide is what we had been seeing there on Evaluate Market. If we look over here on Moment Ranks, you can see, here a similar story, although that started with a lower base as far as total market cap. But this shows a gradual decline since last week. If you look over the month, it's a much bigger slope. That being said, I'm sure the price action of the collective market today is going to affect things and probably exacerbate this further, right? We'll probably have a little bit more fallout. But all of the metrics that we see here are pretty much in line with what we would expect with you know a lot of things happening as catalysts at the same time, between the market, between the NFL all day launching at the same time, and some, I think, fatigue of oversupply that's happening in the market. Here we have a look at what's happening with Bitcoin right now. There's a lot of news with regards to the Fed and what they're doing and whatnot, and obviously not in the best position for people that have assets like NFTs and what they try to do to stay liquid. A lot of liquidation cascades here, so people needed to get funding and whatnot. I'm hoping we come down a wick at this little support line right here again at this 42 and bounce back up, but we will see what happens if those get filled for me. If we look at the actual base sets, about a 6-7% decline across everything over the past 7 days, in line with what we had seen before. Actually, it kind of exceeds the collective market cap decline, right? Because that was 3 or 4% versus a week ago. And I think this is a testament to the sell-off a lot of people have been talking about and executing on, at least people we know within our community, right? A lot of people said, hey, we're consolidating all of these moments that we just held on to for whatever reason. We thought there might be tickets, we might have opportunities, getting out of those and getting into things that I think will hold long-term value, because one, market looks a little iffy. Two, a ton of supplies coming in. And three, I think some people actually are preemptively loading up on Dapper Bucks. So when they do get into NFL, they'll have stuff to spend.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. I know I did that myself until I didn't get whitelisted. But yeah, and I also think that things are going to swing around the holidays, especially around the new year. So this kind of reminds me a little bit of last year. I remember the lull last year with NBA Top Shots. And then, of course, January and February happened. So
yeah, to be seen, man, to be seen. But this user base continued. It's very slow, step iterations here. And even though this is very slight, I'm still glad to see that, as opposed to this, where it was practically flatlined, right? So, the user base continues to just kind of, trickle along. Interesting question though. If you had to consolidate your collection and go in and you said, hey, these are 1 or 2 players or moments that I really want to go after, any thought to who that would be?
Oh yes, Joel Embiid, and I want to say Ben Simmons, but I can't. So I have to stick with
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at you. I'm just
no. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But if I'm going to stick with the Sixers, which I am, Embiid, but I'm also going to be pretty hard on trying to get myself a Steph Curry, because I have a feeling once he's going to break that 3-point mark, and then once he does, things are going to go a little bit more crazier for him. At least,
yeah. I actually put some thought into this the other night, and I thought I was planning on doing this, but inevitably what happened was I spent some time to put a bunch of moments in at the floor price, because I figured I just want to liquidate these, and then the floor dropped out from them. The effort that it took me to list them, and I'm like, man, I'll just do like 20 or 30. It took such a long time, and I got stuff to do. I'm like, man, I can't go back and do that again. So who knows if I get back to it. There has to be an easier way, and I understand that they're doing it so people can't game the system or whatever. But either way, the point is I put some thought into what I would actually do. And it's an interesting balance, right? Of what's already priced in. What do you think is a value? What do you think is good from a long-term investment perspective? If it was obtainable, I'd definitely scoop a Ja, right? Ja Morant, I think, is for me a no-brainer. But what tier I could get with what I could swap out, that's the other question. There's some unique moments I definitely want to scoop that I don't have in my collection. Like I want the Trae Young Hush Madison Square Garden moment, because I think that's cool, right? I think I might grab a Jokic, since I've been talking about it for like 6 months now, right? So again, to me, it's that juxtaposition of value where it is now versus what's priced in. Because I could get a hard in or whatever, but I mean, it's already there.
It's one of those things that I go with Embiid, but it's also because of my love for the team. But I also I believe that he's going to be a value, from my perspective. But
Yeah. Speaking of that Jokic that I always checked, I think it was $70 today. So
Yeah.
that actually is falling in line with what we're seeing right here, right? And that was a base moment, so that makes sense. If we look at the whale vault, according to Moment Ranks, it's actually ticked below the $27 million mark. Still healthy, but again, that's a decline from where it was last week. On Evaluate Market, this one actually did stay loaded.
Yes.
Now we are at 34 million, so down another million versus where we were a
Yep.
week ago. Again, that's what just single digit percentage points there, but
Yep.
still in a healthy profit, but definitely something we want to keep an eye on. I don't think we could have some precipitous drop and just go crazy. Although the $20 million mark is probably not out of the question if things are really really bottom, but I think that I think we should be in good shape going forward, maybe 30, 25, and that's still a healthy asset for us.
Definitely.
What happened? So over the past week, we had another base set drop. We have another one coming up on Thursday. A ton of supply coming into the market at $9 a pack, and you can get 10. Roon, did you bother getting into the last one?
No, I did not, and there is a reason for that. I was still crying over my NFL, all day whitelist not happening, but it was actually because we had a massive windstorm during the time, and I lost power, so I couldn't get, and my phone wasn't active. It was just a whole big old mess. So I'm like, I'm not even gonna bother this round, I should say, but yeah.
Well, you'll be happy to know there won't be as much flood of supply. This time it's only 200K versus a 250,000 or whatever it was last time.
Yeah.
But if you are interested in scooping a Cade Cunningham, he will be in this mint. So he is actually in these packs. If you're hunting rookies, I bought a bunch of packs and gotten junk. So I probably will jump in when I have the opportunity, but I'm not really seeking it out like I was before, like really anticipating, that EV, right? I just kind of think it's going to be junk, and it's if I want to play around with it and have some fun.
Yeah.
Did see this tweet today. It's going to be a huge week, biggest week ever for Flash challenges, and
As
I don't know your
for the biggest week even.
yeah. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I mean, a lot of them have been pretty challenging from an accessibility standpoint, like what you needed, and then like the prizes was another base set pack. So oftentimes it's like it doesn't really motivate me, but I do like that they're trying to keep some activity here. I know in a lot of the other communities there was discussion on how they can change that up. So they want things that can be catalysts for the market, that are obtainable and not like super duper challenging like one of the ones last week, right?
Yeah, definitely.
What else did we see? They announced that they're doing another one of these
Christmas
experiences. Yeah.
Yep.
So 7 people, and there's a lot of contention about the number of people, whether that was adequate, but 7 people are gonna, there was a snapshot. They get to go on the Christmas Day game down to Phoenix.
Yep.
Hotel, wine and dine, some swag, tickets in the suite, the whole thing. So continuing to do that. We'd like to see that ramp up, obviously.
Nice. Yeah, it's so cool.
Well, what's cool about this is all you had to do is have over 1,225 for a collector score.
Exactly.
So, right, it really was kind of a draw of anyone that's participating for the most part in the platform and has that score. So that was good to see at least.
I wonder if the vault counts. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm sure it does, but a lot of these things you have to opt in sometimes that you would do it.
Which makes sense.
And then I know you wanted to mention this, Roon. Were you excited about this?
I was excited, and then I cried, and then I got I'm excited about it, but I don't feel as though I'm ever going to be able to participate again.
Well, do you have your team completed, or because I think you need?
No, so I don't have my team completed because I looked at the requirements needed to complete the team for the Sixers, and I literally would probably have to spend $4,000 because there's a few players that the only moments that they have, they're going for like $2,000 to $3,000, and there's nothing cheaper. I mean, if there was like $7 moments, then yeah, I'd be buying them up like crazy. But because the Sixers only had there's one especially where I only saw one card for sale, and it was like $2,300. I'm gonna have to spend $4K to get into a 76 team channel.
Right. So if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, they announced that they're going to put gated rooms on the Top Shot Discord that people, you can go in and talk with just other people that have completed the team sets. And you can
Mhm.
obviously talk about games as they're going on, things very specific to that fandom.
Yep.
But I think the biggest part of that announcement that people were excited about is they cited that it would have special guests.
Yeah.
So the assumption is at some point members of the team or legends or celebrities, whatever, would come in. You could participate with them right there in the chat.
Yep. And I think
Um,
like Grant is like one of the first ones that are going for like the for Brooklyn, because he's now I guess a partner with Dapper, or an official baller.
yeah,
So
and that they had announced earlier that earlier in the year that he would be part with his boardroom
yep.
organization. So that's part of it as well, I'm sure. But I know a lot of people actually went ahead and tried to complete their team sets for where they are locally, just
Yep.
because if they continue this experiential thing, like who
Yep.
knows if you go to the arena and you could go to the suite, or there's a special VIP room, you go get a
Yeah, and that
snack,
was
whatever it
nice.
is.
Again, I'm not complaining about what it is because I think it's really really cool. I just see it for like me personally being a little bit harder, for some other people being a little bit hard. But I think the concept is really really good, especially if they throw things like that up there. If you got a chance to go into the Boston Celtics locker room, or have like a sweet game experience because you filled out your Boston Celtics team, then that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Hope, maybe there will be an opportunity for people to
Yeah,
participate, like they just did with this
exactly.
experience, right? They'll have different tiers and then you can still get in there, Rune. I'm
Yep.
not completing the Celtics myself, so I'm with you in that boat, but I understand everyone that had completed their local team, and it was a smart thing to do when you had the
It was.
opportunity.
It was
And
very
let's talk about all the salty tears that are happening because of
oh,
people not in the beta for NFL All Day or Alpha, whatever stage it was. And
I cried.
announcements went out, emails went out. My understanding is they're trying to have a good swath of representation in there. It is
Mhm,
crickets. People are really conscious that they don't want to lose their spot, and are trying to
exactly.
abide by any NDA, whether it's official or implied or not, right? So that's pretty cool. That they're adhering to it, but I'd like to see a little bit more from the community. From the leaks I've seen, there's been a lot of discussion about the product and what it looks like thus
Uh-huh.
far. And you can go on some of the market tracking info and take a look at some of the mints. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you took a peek. I took a peek at a moment that was shared, and it was
Yes.
it was cool. It was a little underwhelming to me, but that being
Yep.
said, I don't have the full context of where it was and the pack opening and
Yeah.
experience, but it's beta, so
Exactly.
lots
And
of stuff could change.
Cincinnati, he they scored a pack opening, and there was one that I saw. I can't remember if Cincinnati was the one that posted it, but it was a Los Angeles Rams. Um, I guess run or something like that with the quarterback, but it was pretty good. I mean, I like the graphics of it. I like the art. It looks great. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that continues to evolve. But good luck and a couple of Joe Boos to all people in the
go
community that are
Boo.
still waiting. They may have a trickled rollout, right? So keep checking that inbox. It may come when you don't expect it.
Yep.
I found this interesting as well. DraftKings, signed with the NFL to use their likeness in gamified NFT collections next season. This is very similar, Rune, to what we were just talking about with La Liga on Dapper
Yes.
and So Rare, right? So
Yeah.
this is going to be gamified. So this kind of falls in that same loophole
Yeah.
that's going to be for fantasy or whatever. So um, they'll coexist, and I think that that's great because it
Oh,
would
yep.
they'll push each other for the best product, quite
Exactly.
honestly.
Exactly. And that's the thing that a lot of people. I mean, the competition that's going to be coming out is just going to make things better. Things are just going to be they're going to be one upping each other, and it's just going to be better and better and better. And this is the fact that they're gamifying it. It speaks to what 2022 is going to be all about.
Yes, indeed. And it's funny because the thing that I think about, the thing that I thought about of all possible analogies is like, this is why like wrestling was better when WCW coexisted with WWE. And
You're
obviously,
absolutely
I,
right.
I would keep that scale and not compare it to something today like
Yeah,
AEW and WWE, because obviously DraftKings is a monster, right? And they have resources that could be on par probably with what Dapper would do.
exactly.
And that being said, also I found it interesting that their founder, I mean, they're embedded, man. This is his
Oh yeah, they
profile
are.
pic,
Yep, yep, they are,
right?
and they, yeah.
He
Sorry.
was all about it, and people were criticizing, their dabbles into cryptocurrency and to what they were doing here with trying to get involved in NFTs. And it was like,
Yep,
look, guys, this is the future. You know what I
yep,
mean? You don't want to be blockbuster videos saying you're not paying attention to streaming or whatever. So
exactly.
that being said, I have faith that they'll put a decent product out and likely refine it until it is.
Yeah, no, and they actually, I think DraftKings were also going to be doing something else. It was announced earlier in the year. I don't think it was just NFL related. I'd have to look back at it, but they've made a couple announcements regarding crypto and that stuff too. So yeah,
Oh yeah, no. They're doing other stuff with other celebrities. There's been NFT drops as well. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with the NFL. And tangibly related news. This I just saw before we went live not long ago. This is crazy news to me. So Nike
yes, I saw
acquires
this.
Artifact.
I saw this about
Um,
an hour ago.
and I don't know, and I haven't even had an opportunity to look on how this has impacted the drop that just happened in Clone X and Whale Shark, who dropped, I don't know,
Oh my
significant
god,
amount of money on a
quite a bit.
couple of him that he's stacking, right? Like, well, I don't know, 500,000, but like he
Yep,
bought some aftermarket that was pretty significant.
yep.
But that being said, Nike acquiring the leader in fashion and accessories in the NFT space and the metaverse, man, the possibilities are crazy. Can you imagine a Jordan brand Artifact
Uh-huh.
NFT dropped?
And
Eh,
they even go ahead and they hint at it right there in
right,
that photo. And it's
right.
amazing. Like okay, for me, Nike, big company. Okay, fine. They've had their issues or whatever, but for mainstreaming crypto world, NFTs, digital space, this right here is done right. Forget that other meta stuff. This I got really excited and cried to actually DC when I said, why did I not spend 2 ETH on a Clone X? I don't have 2 ETH, but man, this is great.
Yeah, and it goes to all the discussion about the metaverse and gamified things really holding value and being kind of the future where the value is driven here. So I found it in line with what we're talking about, especially with the tie into Jordan, right, and collectibles. But on the gaming front, this was interesting news over the past few days, right? So Bored Ape Yacht Club and Amimoca Brands joining forces to make a blockchain NFT game. So play to earn times Bored Ape Yacht Club. I'm sure there'll be some bananas involved in this thing, but that'll be big, man. I'm sure
It
that'll
will
be
be.
big.
It will be. This is everything's blowing up, and it's going to be even more so next year. This is the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. And so, I've dabbled myself in a few rando things like I typically do. I tell you guys about it. So, one of them was this Wizards and Dragons game that I found. So, don't even know if it's really sound to get in or not, guys, but it's kind of along the model of the Wolf game as far as
Oh,
the
okay.
drivers and whatnot, only with more gamification for old school RPGs and things of that nature. So you
Yep.
get a little wizard, or you could get dragons, and you can do different things, right? You can guard the tower from the dragon, and you accumulate GP, and the dragon tries to steal it. You can
Mhm.
craft things and get weapons for stage 2 and 3, which will be PvP, which is interesting. Right now they just opened up training where you can get different pieces of gear over time. So I got myself a little wizard. I'm hopping into the fray, but they finally sucked me in with what is essentially a new model that just kind of evolved, right? Wolf game kind of really refined it, gamified it, and put it out there in a new way.
Yeah.
So interesting to see that. And then also DC kind of got me FOMO'd into this World Wide Web land, right?
I'm in
So
it.
yeah, so this was a project that dropped, and we were asking about it actually in the market strategy channel, just because I know, they have their ears to the market and may have an inclination on what was going on. But we found it pretty cool in that, you can buy land, which are essentially buildings in this metaverse that they're building, but it really is about the gamification of it, in that you could take your metaverse assets and use them in this world and
Yep.
in this land. So this, in addition to me having my own real estate here, and by the way, this is a full-fledged game. Like, there's a quest, there's NPCs, there's all kinds of stuff that happens. Um, Likewise, in addition to that, I can take my assets from my wallet and use them. You can use
Yep.
pets. They're slowly incorporating different pixel art things, right? So I can look, my moon cat. I'll throw him on. I'm running around as a moon cat, right? Here I am, hopping
So
around.
yes, so I'm in this also, and because he got me on this too. But there was a glitch in this game, where, and I don't, they may have fixed it, but if you went down, and I have to just share this because I was literally farming for like an hour and a half. But if you went down to the NPC that looks like Rick from Rick and Morty, the doctor.
Oh yeah,
he
down south, yeah.
Yep. If you gave him 10 herbs, he would give you 500 gold or coins, and then he would also give you some herbs back and cartridges. Well, you keep on doing that, and you keep on getting money. You keep on getting the cartridges. So I have 20,000 gold in this, and literally because I was just clicking back and forth. There was a few people that figured it out, and I think they may have fixed it just recently. But yeah, I am definitely in this. I got myself a hoverboard, and I'm scooting on around. But yeah, I'm there with you.
Very cool. And look, someone's Aavegotchi in here. So I
Right?
think from a utility perspective, it's interesting to me because I
Yeah.
think that, people will want to be able to leverage and use their assets in the game.
Yep.
It kind of harkens to old school stuff, but neither here nor there, not really advocating for it. I'm in here because it's something that I enjoy. So I have no idea on
Exactly.
the financial, probability of it doing well. But I do think, just talks to the continued, um, the continued spread of metaverse and
Yeah.
gamification that we're going to continue to see. In fact, I took a look at this read from Arthur Hayes. Those who aren't familiar, Arthur ran and started BitMEX, and it's quite long. It's interesting if you're interested in it. But here's the sorry for giving everybody a seizure scrolling so fast. But if you go to the bottom, you'll see here are the key points that he's talking about the market and how to weather what's going to happen because of some of the different financial stuff. And really, here's the key call out, right? For those who will maintain their macro crypto exposure, but must allocate amongst various coins, the coins that outperform will probably be metaverse, play to earn, or NFT related.
That
And
is
this is not coming. This is not coming from within the NFT,
yeah,
stronghold. This is someone that's macro,
yeah.
the person that essentially brought leverage trading to mainstream crypto trading, right? So interesting to see that's going to continue to be the sentiment.
Yeah, I actually picked up something. Actually, DC and I picked up something today from Midnight Breeze, which was revealed today at about noon, where you could take these images that are based on Japanese art piece. Japanese art, and it's fused together to make a banner. And it sounds weird, but you can take that banner and basically use it in things like World Wide Web and other places for the metaverse. And I got a dope looking piece, and I'm very, very excited about where this is going. And I have a very strong feeling when it comes to sports NFTs, they're going to be doing the same exact thing, especially when they start gamifying most of the stuff.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of gamifying, let's take a look at our leaderboard for tonight in fantasy football
Uh,
pick'em. We got a little bit of a battle at the top between Sprinkles and Esoteric, and then people kind of hashing it out, right, to come in third place. So Rads, Feria, Catherine Grad, Riri. That's a new one. We haven't seen them on the leaderboard, so
no,
interesting if that's a alt name for someone, or we do have a new entrant up here, kind of making some noise.
yeah, no, it's actually really good and esoteric. And Sprinkles, great job. Yeah, you guys basically nailed it this week.
Right, is that that's
That's a
possibly a perfect score?
perfect score.
Wow. So imagine we had a perfect score tie. I feel like then both people need to get something for that if that ends up happening because
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. And esoteric, there has not been a perfect week yet, to my knowledge.
No, but that's definitely worthwhile as far as recognition goes. So good luck,
Yeah.
guys. I'm rooting for a perfect tie, and we'll have to figure out how to reward it when we do. But with that, man, good show, Roon. A lot of cool stuff to talk about. And thanks for giving us the Roon report on what's going on in the world of soccer.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me on again.
All right, everyone. Have a great week. Again, you can stop by our sports NFT room, chop it up, bust chops. We post all kinds of stuff about collectibles, sports, sports NFTs, and a lot of chop busting in there as well. There's still an opportunity to get in on tonight's prop bets. So every night game during the NFL season, we've been having a prop bet challenge. All you do is, if you're a roll holder, you go in. There's a simple form. You pick a few multiple choice. You have an opportunity at $100 worth of whale for every game. So that's 3 times a week. So if you haven't participated, even if you don't know much about football, I think a couple weeks people played that didn't know anything about football at all and
Yeah.
ended up, scoring much better than me when I try my hardest all the time. So props to you guys. Stop on in, play, bust chops, and we'd love to have you. So with that, hope everyone has a great week.
Jobu loves you all.